It's time to talk about printing now. We've done our print preview in the previous lesson. We opened up this publication called Newsletter 12A. So if you're jumping to this lesson, go ahead and open that one up from the Lesson 12 folder of your exercise files. And now we've realized it's time to print. When I talk about printing in this title, I'm talking about printing to a printer that's connected to your machine. So for me, it's the printer that's connected to my machine right now, the default printer. We are going to talk about a little later on sending your document or your publication off to be printed at a commercial printers, and that's a little bit different. So printing right now, we'll just cover printing to your own printers. So that could be at the office, could be at home, wherever your printer's hooked up. Could be on a network even. We'll look at some of those print options as we go to print this. So the print button that you see up here on your toolbar is a little bit dangerous. This button right here is actually going to print what you see on your screen to your default printer. So you see the default printer in this little quick tip. It's my HP DeskJet 3600 series. And if I click this button, off it goes. I've got no options. Boom, just the way it is. If I want to select some options like maybe copies or specific pages, for example, then I need to go up to File menu and come down to Print from here. And when I click Print here, you see I get the Print dialog box. And here I've got a number of options to choose from. So right now you can see one page per sheet, and that's the default. That's the way we want it. The printer name shows up here. Now if you have multiple printers, from this drop down you can select the printer that you want to print to. And I'm going to leave it at my HP DeskJet. You can go into the printer's properties over here, and then of course you can even print to a file. The only reason that you would want to print to a file might be that you want to give this to someone else to print on their printer, and you don't know what they have. So if you print to a file, it creates a print file as opposed to a publication file like we see here, which means they can open it up and just send it to any old printer. It doesn't matter what they've got, and it will print. Under paper here, you can see the size is letter. The source automatically selects, so depending on your printer again, you may have different trays, manual feeds, etc. So using automatically select knows to take the default printer's default paper tray. Orientation is portrait. If I switch it to landscape, it's not going to look very good. You can see that this was designed to be portrait, so we'll leave it at portrait. Down below, the page range is where we get to choose what we're going to print. Every single page in this publication, that's the default, and that's why if we hit that quick print button that we saw up on the toolbar, we would get every page. If we just wanted page 1 printed, then we would choose current page, or if we wanted specific pages, we could use the pages field. If I only wanted pages 2 and 4, I'd put in 2, 4. If I wanted pages maybe 2 through 4 to -4, I think you got the idea. And there's an example down here underneath. I'm going to switch it back to current page, so just the page that we're viewing right now, page 1. Here's where I set up the number of copies. And what's kind of neat is there's a built-in collating if you want it. So if I wanted, say, 4 copies of my 4-page publication, I could then choose to collate. Right now, without the collating checked off, you can see I'm going to get 4 page 1s, 4 page 2s, 4 page 3s, and so on, and I'd have to do all the collating myself. If I choose collate, all 4 pages will be sent, then all 4 pages again, and again. We also have two-sided printing options, and right now single-sided is the default. From the drop-down, I could do two-sided, and I can do two-sided, flip, short side. So very similar, but there's a little bit of manual labor involved because you're going to be printing all your odd pages or all your even pages at once and flipping the paper over depending on your printer. If you've got a duplex printer, that might be different. So I'm going to leave it at single-sided. I have a print preview button down here, something we talked about in the previous lesson, so I could do it right from here. Notice I've got show paper after printing, and then I've got show how to insert paper. If I want that showing up on my screen, especially for two-sided printing, this is great because it tells you how to insert the paper so you're printing correctly on both sides of the paper. We don't need that with single-sided printing. The only other thing to talk about here from the print dialog is the printer details tab up here. Here's where we see the details about the selected printer. Here's where we go to find other printers. So for example, if you're on a network at the office, you might be able to go find some other printers. You can see where this is hooked up. It's by a USB port. You can see the features. It does not do duplex printing. So I would have to do a manual feed for the double-sided printing. It does do color. Non-PostScript is the driver. And you can see there are print margins here as well. Something we're going to talk about when we get to commercial printing, because most printers do not print right to the edge of the paper. There's a trick to get around that. Alright, let's go back to the publication and paper settings, and all we have to do is click print to print our current page. So I'm going to select current page. Using all of these default options, I click print, and off it goes to my printer. So that covers printing. Of course, there's a lot more we can do when we want to prepare a publication for a commercial printer, so we're going to start to get into that stuff next.